Hi guys, it's Ethereal Awakening, and I'm here to do my first video on different concepts and things to help, just from through my experience, what I've noticed that maybe is underneath the full scope of understanding. That's what you're seeing, that's what's happening. And I don't know how to explain it more than that, but just to kind of dive in. So, this will be my first lesson too. Okay, so I'm going to sit here. It doesn't even look that swollen now. That's so cool. Like, I have a little bit of an abscess tooth. I believe I have the power of God imbued in me, just from the nature of my being. And there's no one outside of me that can change or alter that but me. I am the only one. So if I am led astray by somebody else's opinions, if I'm led astray by somebody else's beliefs, if I'm led astray by anything other than my beautiful consciousness, what I know to be true in my world, then, that is still me allowing that to happen. And that experience right there is all there is. That's all there is. Believing that. I believe that with everything in my soul. And it's taken me a long time. Like I literally before I hit click, which I guess you can kind of still see a little bit of puffiness on the side of my face, but right before I hit click to start this video, I was like, oh, yeah, I can tell my face is a little puffy, but it's already healed, so we're just going to ignore that and keep going. And then when I hit the actual record and I look, like, my face hardly looks at all. And to me, in my experience, in my being, that is me healing myself. How many times have we had abscess teeth or something of that nature, and we run to the dentist and they give us the antibiotics, and of course those things work. Why? Because we want them to. I don't think it's the nature of what we're doing, but the belief that we're doing it, that this is going to work, that it works. Just as I click on that camera just that fast, I don't see the same puffiness on that side of my face as I did before. Perhaps a little, but I'm already healed. So we're going to ignore that and move on. What I wanted to highlight in this first video, other than that, what I just explained is always going to be the major note over all the videos I do. But I will bring into focus, specific examples so that there's something that, these way out there concepts that I'm talking about, some may not grasp at first. So I'll go ahead and I'll grab what happened yesterday on Instagram. Perfect example. Let me see. I can find the original. Okay. So there was a post. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah. Okay, and the post was from a page called autism_ability. They posted another post from a woman named Niche Wiseth at Niche Wiseth, and it read, 9-year-old begins to have a meltdown waiting in line for ice cream. Woman in front of us turns around. Looks like someone doesn't deserve ice cream. 6-year-old daughter interjects. Excuse me, he's autistic and having a hard time. You should be kind. Woman, and it's got the emoji, tight-lipped and wide-eyed. And then me doesn't have to say a word. And my thought, I immediately was like, that's brilliant. When the 6-year-old can step up and show the consciousness of Christ, that's exactly what that 6-year-old's doing. She still is sitting in her Christ consciousness. Or rather, She hasn't got the filter yet that we do, and she's been taught well. Let's just put it that way. She's been taught well. And my comment was, my original, I made 2 comments on it and then some replies. My first comment is, hearing children cry in public is music from heaven. It's the responses from adults who should have known better that often leave me feeling like we should be better than this. Now, someone replied to me, Miss Mia Wallace, and she said directly to me, it's not music from heaven. It's horribly grating and irritating. You don't have to pretend that screaming tantrums are lovely. You can acknowledge that they're the fucking worst, and still also acknowledge that as long as the parent is making the effort to stop the child being disruptive, other adults do not need to weigh in. First of all, first problem with this is, what adult in that it was a 6-year-old that interjected into it, not another adult. So she's completely already altered what the whole gist of the post was about. She's already coming from a perspective that is not based in reality. Okay? And this is when reality, what is the concrete facts, does come very much important. But, and yesterday, I was feeling grated. Just kind of like, say something. I will. And my first response to her was very snarky, to say the least. I pretty much told her to keep my fucking name out of her mouth and to keep her hate out of the world. In a nutshell. And I erased that, because that's not Christ in me. So, let's see here. Oh, no. That's not what I wanted to do. I'm still pretty new to the whole Instagram thing, so getting comfortable. Getting comfortable to how I navigate on, and plus I'm getting text messages. Okay, so I replied after I erased that first one, because knowing that something in me was grating me, I shouldn't take it out on somebody. Well, I went and I looked at her profile after I erased it. Nothing but selfies of herself. I mean, nothing. Like, there was nothing, like, she dresses up in costumes. Sometimes she kind of looked like a old Russian immigrant. Whatever. She can do whatever she wants. God's expressed itself in all kinds of ways. But I just wanted to point out, and I said, at Ms. Mia Wallace, you, while one look at your profile, seem to have the idea of humility down pat. And I know sarcasm doesn't come across in text very often, but it's worth a shot. You have no idea what the entire post is trying to bring to light with this comment. Have you ever lost a child? Perhaps it would be the sound of music from heaven if you could refrain from taking selfies for just 2 minutes and think about the real purpose behind it. Now, I am delighted with my response, and I wouldn't have to be so like get my point across, which is exactly what I was doing, by pointing out that she was doing nothing but feeding herself her own image on her own, that's exactly what she was doing. But yet, and then taking the complete post out of context on many levels, and then, like the fucking worst. Like, if you had lost a child, would it be the worst? Like, how dare you? Like, how dare she come into my being and tell me what I can acknowledge and not acknowledge, when she's not willing to acknowledge that perhaps what this entire post is trying to bring to light is that if we don't know, we should probably keep our mouths shut. But if we do, if we have a clue, we have every right and every responsibility to act as such. So not knowing that the little boy behind me in line has autism, that should not even come into play. He's a child. They do that. And if you have a problem with a child who's throwing a fit, if it's not, and I said this later on, I guess I did make 3 comments. I said this later on. I said, if it's so long as it's not in a restaurant that does not have a drive-through or a movie theater, those kinds of places, how many times as a parent have you had to remove your child from a situation so as not to disrupt others? But if you're at a fast food joint or in a store, you do not have that. Like, you didn't pay to walk in the door. You're not getting a show here. Kids are going to act up because they're doing something they don't want to do. How many times you do something you don't want and you throw a fit? That's what, a child does not want to sit in a cart, well, and then an autistic child not recognizing that there is an actual benefit to waiting in this line will also, so it doesn't have to even get that deep. Just understanding that children are precious gifts, no matter what sounds they make, allows you to see that the sound of child is, no matter what noise they make, is music from heaven. And so how dare her, but she did what she did, and I said what I said, and I've not heard a peep back from her. Now, the other comment, this one was good. So this woman, I just read, no, this, she says, this is only one Krista, another one, but this is my job. I have to bring to light things that I think that people are just overlooking. It's not that it's wrong. It's just being overlooked. So it's like bringing light to things so that they can be healed. So only one Krista, her comment on this, she just commented on the whole, what the exchange between the woman in the store and the 6-year-old and the mother, because the mother never says anything other than the post telling what happened. Only one Krista says, no, this is not it, boo-boo. You got it wrong this time. Sorry, not sorry. Don't shame someone because they don't fucking know. Yes, we all stand up when needed, but this example is just too far off. Old girl trying to correct someone who is out of place for another reason. You are taking it to something different. Stop it. And I had to say something at this one. Where's my reply? No. See, I'm so bad with this. Oh, there they are. See, okay. Now, where? Okay. I'm trying to find it. It is, okay. This was my reply to @only1Krista. It's shame from a 6-year-old, boo-boo. Wake up. Blame shifting is a narcissistic trait that is psychological abuse. You are bullying. An adult should make every attempt at knowing. If you get schooled by a 6-year-old, then boo-boo, your knowledge is apparent by your choice of pet names. So making kind of a snarky little, if you want to call somebody boo-boo, guess what? That just says that the way you think is shit. So her response back to me, and the funny thing is when I made these comments, I took a nap in the middle of the day. And I woke up and I kind of still felt snarky, not recognizing that this is the week before my period. But then recognizing it, like I'm probably feeling a little on edge because my hormones are going inside my body. And this happens every month. And this text message. This happens every month, and now I'm finally coming into that, like, this is nobody's fault. This is part of biology. Your body is, so calm down. Don't take it out on these people because your message won't get across that way. But when I woke up from the nap, the first comment had come through. Immediately, when I put into my thoughts that I'm going to get resistance, I got the first comment from Miss Mia Wallace, about, because I assumed that only when Krista would be the first one to comment back, and she did not. She didn't comment back till this morning. And these other 2 comments came the Miss Mia Wallace's comment came in earlier yesterday while I took my nap. And when I woke up and I had that resistance and that, not acknowledging in me that my mind is creating everything around me, I got that resistance comment based off of children's cries being the same. And then I erased that first. I erased it. I said, nope. I completely changed my focus onto, wait a minute. I don't want to, that's not the Christ consciousness in me. I'm going to erase that comment and put up the second one about what if you had lost a child and that the focus of the whole post was being lost. If you can't even recognize that you're doing the exact thing that this post is trying to bring to light, and let me bring it to light to you. If you had lost a child, yes, of course, the cries of children in stores would be the sound of music from heaven. So we need to stop assuming states that are negative. They're not negative. Cries from children are not grating. They're beautiful. The sound of our voices is beautiful, no matter what noises we make. And it takes somebody that knows a little bit more to pull from it what that beauty is. It shouldn't take somebody saying, hey, what if you'd lost a child? That thought came to me a long time ago because I had a friend who lost. I've not lost a child, but I have a friend who has. And I was there. Watched that little boy, 5 years old, watched him pass out of this body and was right there with his mother. So to think of any child crying as anything but music from heaven is something in you that is your problem, not the child's. While the child's needs are all met, a child crying is just a child crying. As so long as those child's needs are being met, the child crying is just a child crying. It happens. God gave us the emotion. God, do it. Why are we so turned off from a cry? So, anyways, my whole point being, when you know better, you do better. I went to sleep last night and I imagined that the comments I get back when I do this are meant in love and light, are meant to expand consciousness, are meant to promote awareness. And then only when Krista did respond to me and she said, at least your comment is original. I do enjoy hearing from someone with some type of originality, unlike most of the comments. Bravo, my hat goes off to you, sir, or ma'am, or whatever. And I liked it. I didn't have to respond anymore after that. But that was me. When I stopped and I created in my reality, no, my points are made in love and light for expansion and goodness being expressed in the world, and I will not take no for an answer. This is me consciously altering my reality. The woman who I basically told her knowledge was shit responded with that kind of response, and I saw it. I saw it in my eye. I saw her, her response coming back to me of, well, you have a point. And what that would feel like if I got that message. And that's exactly what I got. So the whole point in this video is to kind of spread some light on, you don't need much more than a mustard seed. And hopefully as I do these videos, that mustard seed becomes planted. Whether it starts off as something I'm talking about, because it was the blame shifting that at Krista won, or only one Krista, that was a blame shift. When she was completely not in reality. Her whole thing is, shaming someone for not knowing. Nobody was being shamed but by a 6-year-old. Okay. That was the reality of what was presented us as information, was a 6-year-old school. And if you have a problem with a 6-year-old schooling you, then you might have some information as an adult based in shit, or based in, it wasn't really saying that her knowledge was based. It's just that if you get offended by a 6-year-old telling you, hey, you're not aware of this, and the little girl even said it, excuse me, maybe you should be kind. There was nothing to be shamed in. So the shame that was being brought in was simply a blame shift to take that narcissists use to to have their victims questioning their reality. And I've been there. I've been the one who's used that tactic, and I've had that tactic used on me. And now that I see it and I recognize it, I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's psychological abuse, and we have to stop that. If anything out there that we want to change, we got to stop it from within. And that was my recognition. I've got to stop doing this if I want others to recognize that that's what they're doing. And that's a perfect example, not only one, of a blame shift in a narcissistic type of, in a conflict with a narcissist. That's exactly what a blame shift or gaslighting, blame shift and gaslighting are the same thing. It's simply the concept of denying your victim their reality. When she says, "Don't shame me for not knowing," nobody shamed anybody. Okay, that interaction was between a 6-year-old and adult. Nobody was shamed. So whatever shame that only one Krista is experiencing is something from her own self that she has to address and she needs to look at, not to spew it out on other people. And when she recognizes that that's what she's doing, then she can heal it. If she doesn't recognize it, she'll never heal it. She'll keep doing that, repeating that cycle. And then also the awareness that what we focus on, that's what makes healing so important, so that your mind doesn't automatically, it was so easy for me to immediately, at the first comment, Miss Mia Wallace, keep my fucking name out your mouth, keep your fucking hate out of the world. That was it. And I was like, no. It's so easy. Because when I stopped and I was like, and I erased it and I was like, breathe, sister. You do not want to spew that back into the world. You can say this with the same level of snarkiness she brought. It's kind of like don't bring a knife to a gunfight. You can fight fire with fire. Come with the same level, but please understand that there's a point that you're missing. And I think I expressed it quite eloquently with Miss Mia, and then also was able to stop and say, you know what, if I get a comment back on here, it's going to be a positive thing. I'm not going to accept someone negatively attacking me. But because I allowed that. I created Miss Mia Wallace's negative comment because as soon as I woke up and saw that I had an Instagram notification where someone had mentioned me, it was immediate. I was like, oh man, here we go. But I didn't allow it on the second one. On the second day, I was like, okay, I recognize that I did that. I put that out there. Well, this time I'm not. And the more negative, and it wasn't based in negativity. It was just based in, look, honey, the boo-boo thing, that's condescending, it's demeaning. Don't call people boo-boo. That was a little bear in a Hanna-Barbera cartoon some years ago when I was a kid. Or what happens when you scratch yourself. That's a boo-boo. Don't call people boo-boo, especially in this context, because you're immediately condescending, you're immediately belittling, and come to think of it, you're not basing your argument in reality. If you get schooled by a 6-year-old, well, God bless you. Maybe you ought to go home and not be lazy and learn some stuff so that you're not getting schooled by 6-year-olds. That was my whole point. I said it, I thought it was pretty clever. That her level of knowledge was apparent by the pet name she used. Saying that was shit. But anyways, this video went way longer than I thought. I need to get in the shower and get my day started. I hope it's not just been me jibber jabbering. I hope it comes through. And I'll see you next time, guys.